If you are a regular on this channel, you would know that I've been calling Nintendo out on their greediness for years. And in my Switch 2 predictions video, I said the console would be perfectly fine, but the reason I'm worried is because I've lost trust in Nintendo themselves. Sadly, that video aged too well. But fortunately, the Switch 2's new prices were so bad that even the most loyal of Nintendo fans simultaneously broke out of their trance and realized what the company they are supporting really is.
Nintendo is the final boss in the battle between customers and the video games industry.
I'm gonna raise the price to $80!
This $20 price hike is insanity. You have lost your mind. By principle, I can't spend money on that.
Alright, I'm just gonna say it. It's not worth 80. I'm just gonna say it off the rip.
They're testing the market. They're the ones that are gonna break the dam because they know that their sycophants are gonna buy it no matter what.
Nintendo is charging you for your love of the franchise. And I don't know how you rationalize that or you feel about that, but that's scummy.
How do you even begin to rationalize why they would charge money for their tutorial of the Switch 2? It's craziness. That is an actual Mr. Krabs maneuver.
3 times the flavor, 3 times the pride.
We look at every game and every experience and determine what we believe is the right price point based on that experience.
The executives over at Nintendo are horrifyingly out of touch, not just with gamers in general, but also just with regular human beings.
When I turned on the Treehouse Live and saw every comment in the chat was, drop the price. The whole duration of the Treehouse Live. I don't want to try and blow things out of proportion, but this does feel like a true crisis moment for Nintendo.
To say fans are upset would be an understatement, because I've never seen the Nintendo fan base this united since ever. And it's not just the Nintendo community that's in an outrage, but the gaming community across all platforms. This is a time when gamers don't really have much to look forward to from the big three, or even PC. Sony is obsessed with live service games, Xbox pretty much gave up, and all the new AAA games for PC feel less optimized than the last. So people were really hoping for Nintendo to swoop in and bring some life to the gaming industry. Little did they know that they were about to crash it. But before we dive into this dumpster fire that is the Switch 2, I want to talk about the good things, as I believe they play a big role on why fans are so outraged. But if you just want to skip to the more juicier parts of the video, then here are some time marks. As I mentioned, the Switch 2 as a console is not bad at all. It's actually better than I thought it'd be. Like, I didn't think the screen would have a 120Hz refresh rate. I guess the silver lining of Nintendo's PS3 looking games is that they can run smoother on better hardware, and I'm fine with that. I don't need to see the pores on Mario skin. Good looking games are nice, but the costs of making them are ridiculous. Instead, we should be focusing on making games that are well optimized, so this is good. And also, that's not to say the Switch 2 is incapable of having nice graphics. A crap ton of third-party games were confirmed, a lot of them look great. The two that stood out to me the most were FF7 Remake and Cyberpunk. I am amazed that this tiny tablet is outputting these graphics. And I am sure that they are run at a lower resolution and then upscaled with AI, but still, for a handheld, this is impressive. Also, it's worth pointing out that when docked, the Switch 2 supports up to 4K 60fps, but just don't expect any GPU-intensive games to be hitting that mark. Also, it wasn't in the Direct, but both Switch controllers are confirmed to work on the Switch 2, so you won't have to throw out all those controllers you've bought. We also got a brand new FromSoft game, out of nowhere. These guys just had a massive DLC last year, and a new game set to release in 2 months. And now they added another game? How are they doing this? Wait. It's an online multiplayer game. Ugh. I think some people might like this. We'll call it a win. But what's an absolute win is Donkey. They gave him the Mario Odyssey treatment, where you go to different sandbox areas and they condense the content into a small but open world, leaving you with a game that's full of secrets and things to do left and right. And the gimmick this time of being able to break anything you see, terraforming the map, it is an interesting concept, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. If there is any reason to buy a Switch 2, it would be this game. Put me in an underwater level and crank up the aquatic ambience, and I might just forget that it got scammed to play it. Other than that, there were a couple small things they added which I think will go a long way in making the Switch 2 a better console. The most surprising of them is Game Share, which is practically like download play from the DS. It allows you to play a game with a group of people, even if one person owns a copy. This is the most pro-consumer thing about this console. Like, I just briefly threw it out there in my Switch 2 predictions video, but I never actually expected Nintendo to do it, but they did. Also, this is just hopeful thinking, but the technology behind Game Share is very similar to how the Wii U casts an image to the gamepad, but in this case, it's the main Switch 2 that has the game inside of it casting to the others. So given the Switch 2 is capable of doing this, maybe we might see Wii U games be brought back in their full glory. Perhaps they could release an accessory that's just a touchscreen, you know, nothing fancy, no processing power, and the Switch 2 can cast to it. You could even make it into a giant DS and plug it in the top. I mean, it's already been confirmed that we can plug in accessories to the top USB-C port. Speaking of, I'm glad they finally added voice chat, but this whole camera video chat thing with 1 frame per second game share, it's cool for the people who want it. Okay, I can't pretend anymore. See this camera? The one that makes the Wii U gamepad look like 4K? It's $50.
China! No!
If you want to use it in a party game,
Alright, I got Diddy.
then that means everyone has to awkwardly squeeze into frame. And the voice chat? Well, there's no microphone on the controllers, only on the Switch itself. You know, the one that is sitting right next to the TV blasting sound from your video game. But wait, in order for the microphone to pick up your voice from across the room, it means the audio gain is turned all the way up. And I don't care what they claim in the trailer, you will be able to hear everything in the room. They say it won't, but speaking from experience, voice isolation software makes your voice sound like shit. Even in the live stream, they had a pre-recorded video. So best case scenario, you sound like this.
I will now comment on what you guys are doing.
So if you want to properly use voice chat, you'll probably need to pick up a Pro controller for $90.
China!
On top of that, you have to pay to use the chat features, pretty much locking the C button behind a paywall. This entire direct felt to me like they were just boasting about meeting the bare minimum of industry standards, yet still charging a premium price. Sharing your screen has been a thing since the PS4. Spatial audio was on the PS3. You have to pay $10 to play a game called Welcome Tour. Not a warm welcome. Even as far as tech demos go, this is lame as hell.
Mr. Kawamoto!
Hello. My current location is actually inside the game itself.
It's a glorified manual that has you doing things like playing a game called Guess the Frame Rate, or taking an HD Rumble quiz.
All right, question number 1. Which part of the console is shown in the image? So we saw earlier, it is not HD Rumble, it is HD Rumble 2.
That's right, because HD Rumble was part of the Nintendo Switch, but since we are talking about the Nintendo Switch 2, it is HD Rumble 2.
Who the hell is this game meant for? This feels like it was just a side project that an employee at Nintendo was working on in their free time, and then a higher up saw it and was like, hey, that's pretty good. I mean, is the $10 they are charging really worth sacrificing the good rapport they could have built with the fanbase?
No.
It reminds me of the story of how Reggie fought the Japanese Nintendo headquarters to have Wii Sports be a tie-in game with every system sold. And because of that, it became a cultural phenomenon. Compare that to when Bill Trinen was asked about why this poopy tech demo cost money. He said, it's really for people that want more information about the system, rather than necessarily a quick intro to everything it does. And for that reason, and just the amount of care and work that the team put into it, I think it was decided that, yeah, this feels like $9.99 is not an exorbitant price. It feels like a good value for what you're getting out of the product.
Oh, great. Bill, you're fired.
They're just penny pinching at this point, and their justification for why the new Mario Kart costs $80 is even worse. Doug Bowser, the president of Nintendo America, yes, his name is Bowser, said this about the prices.
Yeah, I would say that we're not really looking to establish a benchmark for pricing. We look at every game and every experience and determine what we believe is the right price point based on that experience. So we believe based on the depth and breadth of the play and the repeatability of the play over time, the pricing that we announced is the right pricing. But again, other games like you mentioned, Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's going to be at a $70 price point because that is what we feel is the right price point for that particular gaming experience.
So are they implying that Mario Kart World is a better game than Donkey Kong Bonanza? Really? One is a brand new experience, the other is the same game we've had for the past 10 years, but with a few extra bells and whistles. Yes, people spend a lot of hours playing Mario Kart, but not because the content of the game is so great, but because of the people you play it with. It's a party game. This game is only as fun as the people you play it with. And they're trying to charge you for that? The good old friends and family fee. That is disgusting. It's bad enough that they are already charging you to simply chat with your friends, but now it seems they're increasing the prices of family games. Because can you really put a price on the memories you'll make with your loved ones? Take Mario Party for example. They just added a couple mini games and then raised the price to $80. Plus, you need to buy the camera separately. So $135 or $185 if you're a poor Canadian bastard like me, so that you can do this. You gotta be kidding me. This is 1-2 Switch levels of robbery. Nothing in these games will justify their price point. And the fact that Mario Kart World costs $30 less in the Switch 2 bundle pretty much confirms that for me.
That's what racing is about. It has nothing to do with cars or drivers. All that matters is power and the unassailable might of money.
They say the price reflects the quality, but what they don't understand is that it's a quality product when we can get it at a low price. You see, in the past, the great thing about Nintendo wasn't that they were just fun, but also affordable. It was part of their family-friendly marketing campaign to make their games as accessible as possible in order to undercut their competition. And they did this by focusing on creative, cheap-to-produce games, which appeal to everyone.
Today, there are people who play and people who do not. We will help destroy that wall between them, regardless of age, gender, and game experience. Anyone can instantly understand Wii.
It was a risky strategy, but it ended up paying off.
It's a toy even Santa would have trouble finding.
It paid off so well, in fact, that 10 years later, there is an entire generation of adults that hold this immense sense of loyalty and nostalgia towards Nintendo, swearing their allegiance to a company that essentially represents their childhood. And now, Nintendo doesn't even have to worry about competitive pricing, because they groomed an entire generation to give up their wallets. You didn't have to be a rich kid to experience Wii Sports or Mario Kart, but you certainly need to be a rich adult if you want to satisfy your inner child, even though they're still making cheap-to-produce games. Just look at how much other developers are spending. God of War Ragnarok had a budget of $200 million, Spider-Man 2, $270 million, Cyberpunk 2077, $437 million, GTA 6 has had a development cost of about $2 billion. Breath of the Wild, Nintendo's biggest project to date, was $120 million. So there is absolutely no reason for Nintendo, of all people, to raise the price this much, other than their own greed. Speaking of Breath of the Wild, you know, the 8-year-old launch title for the original Switch, they have decided to resell it for a higher price than when it first released. And that doesn't even include the DLC. It just runs at a better frame rate. So in total, you're paying $90. Why do you have to pay money to take advantage of the hardware you already bought? They are double dipping into our wallets. But don't get things mixed up. Not every Switch game will cost money to run better. Only the ones that have new content added, like Kirby or Mario Party like I mentioned. But hold up a second, what's added to the Zelda games? Nothing. At least not in the actual game. But the Nintendo app will have Google Maps navigation.
Proceed north. Your destination is north of here and close. Your destination is above. Your destination is nearby. You have reached your destination. Guidance deactivating.
Who wanted this? Exploration is a core part of the game. Like, you were supposed to get lost in this world. I guess if you're a crazy completionist, this might be helpful for getting all 1000 Korok seeds. Although, it's too bad they didn't introduce trophies on the Switch 2, you know, to prove you did it. All you get is a literal piece of Korok shit. Building is another core part of Tears of the Kingdom. And wouldn't you know it, you can now download other people's builds, as if Link wasn't broken enough already. I wouldn't even consider this to be an open world adventure game anymore. It's just a sandbox game. What would have been cool is if they expanded on the building mechanics and increased the limit for the amount of things you can attach to your builds, but I guess that would have taken actual effort. The app also lets you see your stats, like how many enemies you killed, total rubies collected, in-app achievements, voice messages, which I already know every Zelda tuber is crossing their fingers hoping for some lore. But again, why is this something you have to pay for, and why is it on a separate app? This should all be on the game itself.
Is this the afterlife?
If one day the app gets discontinued, then the content you're paying for is gone. This whole thing feels so Ubisoft, like they straight up just added a checklist and then called it content so that they can squeeze out as much playtime as possible from Tears of the Kingdom, which is a game that was already squeezing out content from the previous game. They even did that stupid daily rewards thing that all the free-to-play apps do. It's a cheap method to make using their app part of your daily routine, using FOMO to keep you hooked. They have found a way to twist one of the most iconic game series, famous for its innovation, into mobile slop.
When you scan an amiibo 5 times, you'll get an additional bonus use of that amiibo that you could normally only scan once per day.
They are ruining my favorite franchise, and I hate it. But I don't even have a joke to make here, I just hate this. Meanwhile, Oblivion just got a remaster for $50, but it keeps getting worse. GameCube games have been confirmed for the Nintendo Switch online subscription. No. Stop clapping. This is not a win. All they did is take away the feature to play old games, and then they later on re-added it, but crappier. They are doubling down on a shitty payment model, where they drip feed you a couple games here and there, making you feel like you're getting your money's worth, when in reality, you don't own any of the games, and over time you end up paying more money than if you actually bought them. Nintendo not bringing back Virtual Console is the biggest argument to emulate their games. And I'm saying this as a huge Wind Waker fan. It's my favorite game ever made, and yet even I can see that this is a bad omen. Also, as a side note, the Zelda fan base has grown a lot since Breath of the Wild, right? So that means there will be plenty of new fans playing Wind Waker for the first time. And Wind Waker is a timeless game that holds up extremely well, but the HD remaster is clearly the best way to play it. So it's a shame their first exposure to this masterpiece isn't going to be as great as it should have been. Ask any fan and they will tell you a Twilight Princess / Wind Waker bundle should have been the move. And guys, it keeps getting worse. Most games on cartridges don't even have the actual game in it. It's just a license key to download, meaning not only is it worthless without an internet connection, but in 10 years when the Switch 2 gets discontinued, your physical game will be worthless. And this is just nitpicking here, but do these game cases not look ugly as hell? Like, that red bar is too damn big.
I don't like it.
The game art looks so much cleaner on the original Switch case, but what irks me the most in terms of design is the menu. They are reusing the same plain boring menu screen as the Switch 1. For God's sake, the Steam Deck has more personality than the Switch 2. The homebrew menu screen has more personality than this. Especially on handhelds, themes are a great way of making a console feel personalized. I mean, you could tell a lot about someone just by looking at their phone wallpaper. The 3DS had so many theme options. You could change the background, the music, folders, or just have it shuffle between favorites. But with these lame-ass menu screens, they are killing their own branding of being a fun, creative gaming company. I mean, this menu feels like I just walked into Lumen. Honestly, they are handling this entire situation like Lumen. They took a page out of the Severance playbook and said, let's make this console release as corporate, confusing, and cryptic as possible, all while doing the most dubious shit behind the scenes. Let people really wonder, what the hell is going on at this company? This video has been a pain in the ass to make because every day there is a new controversy surrounding the Switch 2. People didn't know how much the games or console cost, what was included with the games, what a key cartridge is, how much it would cost in their country, what features require a subscription. Some were saying physical games will be more expensive than digital and Mario Kart is $90, but then none of that was true. And then we found out the Switch 2 will be cheaper in Japan and cartridges are download only, but not all of them. And also you need a subscription to use the C button, and the GameCube controller only works with GameCube games, except that was a lie, and it does work with other games with limited functionality. And oops, Nintendo made a typo and VRR is only supported in handheld mode and not while docked. And information just keeps on coming out from different sources in different corners of the internet. And just now I'm finding out you need to link a phone number for game chat. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this video gets outdated a day after it comes out. But if they just gave us all the information directly, then there wouldn't be so much confusion. And their interviews didn't help clear things up at all. They are so coy with their decision making that every answer they give just leaves more questions. Did you guys fix the stick drift? The new Joy-Con 2 controllers for the Nintendo Switch 2 have really been designed from the ground up, from scratch, to have bigger movement and smoother movement. Okay, who's developing the new Donkey Kong game? It's a very good question. You'll have to stay tuned. Guys, the Switch 2 prices are mysterious and important.
Why didn't you say so?
And in the shadows, while all of that was going on, Nintendo was up to no good. They have updated the Switch user agreement to say you are not allowed to sue them. Oh yeah, so if all your Joy-Con 2s start drifting, not their fault. If you wake up one day and your Switch 2 is bricked, it is also not their fault. It's actually a feature. They can remotely brick your console if they think you are tampering with its software. This is meant to stop piracy and hacking, but it also means you can't mod your Switch in any way. So let me get this straight. You have to pay money for games to take advantage of the hardware you already bought. And if you use it in any way that isn't officially supported by Nintendo, it will get bricked. And in the case that it malfunctions, or I don't know, is unfairly bricked, Nintendo isn't accountable. Do you even own this thing? And it doesn't stop there. As some of you might know, Nintendo is suing Palworld over 3 different game patents. Aiming and throwing a sphere-like object to capture a monster, engaging in battle by launching one creature at another, a dynamic mounting system for moving across land, water, and air. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. And all 3 of those patents were registered after the initial release of Palworld in 2024. Clearly designed for the sole purpose of going after Palworld. They're trying to monopolize basic game mechanics. I have a whole video about it if you want more details, but there have been some updates recently. Palworld is going to have to make some gameplay changes due to the ongoing lawsuit. One of them was made a few months ago, which is you can no longer aim and throw your pals out. So before, if you wanted your pal to fight someone or mine a rock, you would throw your pal at it and they do it. Now they just spawn right next to you and you kind of cross your fingers hoping that the PAL AI will know what you want it to do. Pretty lame. And recently they have made another change. You used to be able to use your pals to glide around, but I guess Nintendo owns gliding with creatures because they changed it to only gliding with a glider. You can still unlock the ability and get the speed boost of using a PAL, but you need to have a glider in your inventory for it to work. Before, the PAL would straight up replace the glider, saving you the trouble of having one. So, thank you Nintendo. I mean, they are straight up punching down bullying an indie company for making a better monster catching game than them. How Nintendo can own the biggest franchise in the world and still find the time to be this petty is beyond me. And people need to give Palworld more credit. I know it looks like Temu Pokemon, but since its initial release, Pocket Pair has added so much to this game to enrich its world and mechanics. Honestly, comparing it to Pokemon is an insult to Palworld. Like, you can get lost in this game for days. I personally have 150 hours in this thing. and it's still in early access. The game is not finished, and Nintendo is trying to prevent it from being finished. Both Nintendo and the Pokemon Company want 5 million yen each, and 5 million yen is about $33,000, which is pocket change to these guys. But they also want an injunction against its release. I guess Nintendo realizes their biggest cash cow is being threatened, and they're doing everything in their power to shut it down. Everything except making a better game. Now, I guarantee you will still find people ready to bat for this vile, greedy company. They will defend Nintendo's anti-consumer practices as just business, or say they are adjusting for inflation, not taking into account that the cost of living is much higher now than back then. But you know, I can at least see where those people are coming from. But this? How the hell do you justify this lawsuit, which is so obviously being done out of malicious intent? You just can't deny Nintendo's greediness. It's staring at you in the face. And people will still say, "Stop screaming, drop the price. You're not gonna make a difference. We all know you'll buy it anyway." These people should be shamed, because it's exactly this kind of thinking that is going to raise prices even more than $80. Don't take my word for it, just look at that answer Mr. Bowser gave. In addition to the variable price stuff, he also pointed out that they previously charged higher prices before with Tears of the Kingdom, and that they charged $60 for Link's Awakening, which was a remake of a Game Boy game. And yet, they were massively popular. You know what? He makes a good point. It was our reckless spending that created the monster we see today. I mean, it is crazy to me that they think so little of their fans that they didn't even disclose any prices or give any details on the functionality of the Switch 2 in the Direct. They just announced it and assumed people would buy it, no questions asked. Oh, too expensive? If you're a broke boy, just say so. Stick to the Switch 1, buddy. Is this how far Nintendo fans have fallen? Like, you just give it up that easily now? They flash some cow breasts at you and it's enough for you to open up your wallet? It's like, at least let them take you to dinner before they clap your cheeks, you know? Does anyone remember the days when Nintendo actually used to try to sell us on a game before we bought it? I mean, just look back at the Mario Kart 8 Direct. They presented it in a format of someone flipping through TV channels. And the channels talk about different Mario Kart related things.
Are you ready? Because ready or not, it's time to meet the new racers in Mario Kart 8.
The global news talked about internet functionality. The History channel talked about the history of Mario Kart games. They even had some jokes in there.
That one special day, I had Donkey Kong toss a bob-omb and made a monkey of myself.
And for the Science channel, they had a Carts vs Bikes comparison, which was a clever way of showing the game mechanics. They were surprisingly self-aware about it and felt like they were making a parody of themselves, while still getting the important information out there.
It's like Nintendo heard me.
And they ended it by announcing you can get a free download code for any one of these games just by registering your Mario Kart 8 copy at Club Nintendo. And they announced the Wii U bundle. Best of all, they did it in a way that was straight to the point and left no room for confusion.
Purchase the Mario Kart 8 Wii U bundle, register the game with Club Nintendo, and get a digital version of one of 4 amazing games for free. That's a great way to get into the next generation of Nintendo games.
Is that too much to ask? Where did we go wrong? How did we go from this to this, where they just talked about what we already know?
Race as familiar characters like Mario, Luigi, Peach.
In a boring AI voice, spent 1 minute announcing collectibles, and then ended without even mentioning the price. Man, we had it so good. But you know what? It's not all doom and gloom.
I'm so grateful to Nintendo for allowing us to watch this presentation completely free.
Because this time, things feel different.
I'm so glad that Mario was a playable character in this game. Thanks for spelling that out.
I'm grateful to Nintendo for not selling the carts separately in the Mario Kart game. Thanks, Nintendo.
Basically, this could have been an email of directs.
$80 for a new Mario Kart. With free roam, Mr. Squidward. With free roam.
Things are different. People are noticing. They thought they had the industry wrapped around their finger, but they were more wrong than even I can imagine. When they had 2 days of live streams where they would play upcoming games, for the entire duration of those streams, the chat only read one thing: drop the price. Non-stop for 4 hours straight, drop the price. This right here warms my heart. To me, I feel like I've been fighting this battle for so long, and now help has finally arrived. And seeing people this united against Nintendo's corporate greed, it gives me hope for the gaming industry.
Doug Bowser, I love you! And drop the prices!
We aren't cooked just yet, people. Listen, I don't care that Switch 2 pre-order sold out. That doesn't mean anything. It was guaranteed to happen. Every console's pre-order sold out. The Wii U's pre-orders sold out. What matters is if they could keep up a steady number of sales throughout the console's lifetime. Look at the 3DS. Pre-order sold out, 5 months later no one was buying it, so they reduced the price by $80. They let the success of the old console get to their head, they got greedy, gamers humbled them, and the price went down. Same thing with the PlayStation 3. The PS2, huge success. They got really greedy, pre-orders sold out, then they had low sales, dropped the price multiple times, and made a rebound. And now we must do the same thing with the Switch 2. It's arguably more important than ever for this pattern to repeat, because this isn't just about Nintendo, but the industry as a whole. It's no coincidence that not even a month after the Switch 2 prices were revealed, Xbox also announced they're increasing their prices to $80. And the way all these CEOs and presidents have been talking, soon enough $80 will be considered a low price. Capcom's president says, gamers should pay $80 to $100 per video game. Embracer Group CEO says, if you create an enormous polished RPG, consumers will be willing to pay more, but no one has tried it yet. Until now. Gearbox CEO says, real fans will pay $80 for Borderlands 4. Take-Two CEO has been talking about pricing games per hour. Ubisoft's director of subscriptions says we should get used to not owning our games? What the hell? It's like everyone in the industry unanimously went,
You're broke, boy, just say so.
You see, unlike back then, where everyone was competing to have the lowest prices, now it feels like they are working with each other to try and raise prices. And they are already high as they are. Games like Split Fiction, Expedition 33, or even Palworld prove that you don't need a crazy budget to make a good game. And a common sentiment I've been hearing a lot online is the Switch 2 is going to be great. Just look at how fast pre-orders sold out. And Nintendo even predicts to sell 15 to 20 million units. So you're telling me that Out of Touch company has high expectations for their expensive new console? Oh, like what's that supposed to prove? And yeah, pre-order sold out.
How excited are you? Absolutely excited!
They have an incredibly loyal fan base who would give an arm and a leg just to see the thing. It's almost like it's a scalper's dream come true. And the thing is, they aren't even completely wrong. I mean, if I'm being real, the whole reason I am making this video is because I'm scared of the Switch 2 succeeding. There's a very good chance it will do great. But these people who are spouting the Switch 2 accolades, they're stating the obvious without reading into the subtext, which is Switch 2 selling more means more expensive and lower quality games for you. If you are buying the Switch 2, you're telling Nintendo, yes, I like it when you raise the price. I like it when I don't own the game. I like it when you hide basic functions behind subscriptions. I like paying for tutorials or not giving us autonomy over our own gaming systems. But if you don't like any of those things, then you don't buy the Switch 2. And still, Nintendo fans are so narrow-minded and tribalistic when it comes to their favorite company that they don't even notice we're on the same side here. I'm also a nostalgia fiend. I don't want Nintendo to shrivel up and die, I want them to be better. I think the games look great, and mouse mode has insane potential, but the problem isn't the Switch 2, it's everything surrounding it. And when you give a greedy company an inch, they take a mile. Any gamer capable of pattern recognition can see the slippery slope that the gaming industry is standing on, and they realize the importance of a boycott, because Nintendo is building the bridge to expensive games, and everybody else is going to cross it. And we need to counter with a very simple method. Don't buy the Switch 2. Give it at least a year minimum, and they will lower the price. We've seen it happen, we know it works. Ideally, we would just not buy the Switch 2 until they lower the price, but I don't think I'm being unreasonable by asking you to wait at least a year. Prices aside, being an early adopter of a new console is never a good idea. You already know they're gonna come out with an OLED model, special editions, or fix some sort of defect. All those third-party games that are full price at release will be on discount later on. And the only notable first-party titles in its first year are Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. Is it really worth it to spend $800 to play 2 games? You'll end up spending most of your time playing third-party games. Games that on every other console run better, are cheaper, and in some cases you actually own them. And I am 100% that there are some bangers on the console you currently own, but just haven't played yet. So waiting on buying the Switch 2, regardless of your personal opinions on Nintendo, is just the smart thing to do. I mean, who knows, we might see a Steam Deck 2 or portable PlayStation console in the coming years. You honestly have every reason to wait before buying the Switch 2, but it won't be easy. Because I guarantee you, in the first 6 months of its release, you won't be able to find one in stores, articles will come out talking about how huge of a success it is, and all the Nintendo YouTubers will be showing it off in their videos, because it's their job to do so. Donkey Kong Bonanza will be nominated for the Game of the Year, and the hype of a new console generation will start to feel real. It will feel like buying Switch 2 is an obvious choice, but it is up to us to make up for the negligence of the Nintendo bots. I know you probably feel like, psh, trying to save the gaming industry? I'm just trying to play video games. But thing is, if we don't do it, who will? You know, like who's gonna carry the boats so that the next generation can enjoy affordable video games like we did? You know, it's for those who come after. When we were children, Nintendo gave us wonder. They gave us joy, imagination, adventure, and we were grateful. We still are. But the games we once owned now leased. The joy we once shared now gated behind price tags and subscriptions. They ask for our loyalty, but they don't even earn it anymore. And yet, we still buy. Out of habit, out of fear of missing out, out of love for the very legacy they're leveraging against us. But this time, we do something different. Today we remember that we have power. They cannot profit without our wallets. They cannot win unless we let them. So I ask you, not as enemies of Nintendo, but as defenders of what they used to stand for, which is fun, creative freedom, and gaming for all, to not buy the Switch 2. I don't even care if it's your kid's birthday. Teach them what smart spending looks like. Get them a Steam Deck, play pretend with them, and be pirates for all I care. But we will boycott, not because we hate Nintendo, but because we still believe that they can do better. Think about it. Who else will do it? If not them, then it has to be you.